Most people know Ireland for its castles, green hills, and St. Patrick's Day. But beyond the famous landmarks lies a country where centuries-old traditions blend effortlessly with modern life, where communities remain deeply connected, and where every winding road tells a story. This is Ireland, and it's unlike anywhere else in Europe. Beyond the stereotypes. Sitting on the western edge of Europe, Ireland is a small island with an outsized presence in the world's imagination. Roughly the size of Indiana, yet home to landscapes that shift from dramatic sea cliffs to flat limestone plains to dense ancient forests, sometimes within a single afternoon's drive. Ireland's reputation for hospitality isn't a tourist slogan. Walk into almost any village and a stranger will hold a door, offer directions, or start a conversation before you've had a chance to ask. Storytelling isn't a pastime here. It's practically a civic duty. But Ireland's greatest beauty isn't found only in its scenery, it's found in the rhythm of everyday life. How geography shapes everyday life. Ireland receives more rainfall than almost any other country in Western Europe, and rather than fighting it, the Irish have simply built their lives around it. That rain is the reason the fields are so impossibly green. It's the reason the peat bogs stretch for miles across the Midlands, layered with thousands of years of organic history. And it's the reason the Irish have developed a particular talent for finding warmth indoors, whether that's around a kitchen table, a pub fire, or a community hall. The land is productive. Dairy farming is woven into the identity of entire counties. Fishing villages along the wild Atlantic Way have pulled their livelihoods from the sea for generations. Nature here isn't background scenery. It is the schedule, the economy, and the conversation. A typical morning. A morning in an Irish village begins quietly. Mist still sitting in the valleys. A farmer already out checking the fields before the rest of the road has stirred. Children walk to school in clusters, school bags bouncing, voices carrying down the lane. There's rarely a rush in the way cities might understand it. There's purpose, but there's also ease. A sense that the morning belongs to everyone, not just to whoever is most hurried. By the time the mist has lifted, the village is fully alive, and it feels, even to visitors passing through, like a place that genuinely enjoys its own mornings. But mornings are only the beginning of what makes life here so special: family and community. In Ireland, community isn't an abstract idea. It's the woman from 3 farms over who drops in a pot of soup when someone is unwell. It's the GAA club that draws 3 generations of the same family to the same pitch every Saturday. It's the local committee that organizes the summer festival, the Tidy Towns competition, the fundraiser for the family who lost everything. Hospitality is extended almost instinctively. A visitor asking for directions might end up sitting down for tea. A neighbor helping with a delivery might stay for lunch. There is a generosity of time here that can genuinely surprise people arriving from faster-paced places. Belonging in Ireland is something that communities actively maintain. Culture, traditions, and history. The Irish language, Gaelge, is still spoken as a living, daily language in pockets of the west and south known as the Gaeltacht. Street signs appear in both languages throughout the country, a quiet insistence that something ancient is still very much alive. Ireland's history is layered and complex. Monastic settlements from the early Christian era, Norman fortresses, plantation-era estates, and the raw, difficult memory of the famine that reshaped the island and sent millions across the world. That history is not distant here. It lives in the landscape, in family names, in the quiet acknowledgement that things were once very hard, and that this makes the present worth something. While history surrounds Ireland, its future is equally inspiring: making a living. Ireland's economy tells 2 stories at once, and somehow both are true simultaneously. In the countryside, dairy cooperatives and family farms still anchor entire communities to the land the way they have for generations. Along the coast, fishing boats go out in the early morning and return with Atlantic salmon, crab, and oysters that will be on restaurant tables by evening. Between these 2 Irelands, small businesses quietly hold communities together. The craft brewery, the artisan cheesemaker, the furniture restorer, the graphic designer working from a converted barn. Ireland has developed a particular talent for people who find a way to make a life doing something they genuinely care about in a place they genuinely love. Food that tells Ireland's story. Irish food has undergone a quiet revolution, where once the cuisine was dismissed as plain, today it draws on some of the finest raw ingredients anywhere in Europe. Grass-fed beef, hand-dyed scallops, farmhouse cheeses that win international awards, and vegetables pulled from rich, rain-fed soil. Farmers' markets have become a fixture in towns across the country, connecting producers directly with the people who eat their food. There's a pride in provenance here, knowing which farm the lamb came from, which harbor the fish was landed in, which orchard pressed the juice. And the Irish table is still, above all else, a social place. Meals are meant to go slowly. They are meant to carry conversation, argument, laughter, and the occasional unannounced guest. And nowhere is Ireland's connection to its land more visible than beyond its towns. Living alongside nature, the cliffs of Moher drop 200 meters into the Atlantic. The Connemara wilderness stretches in every direction: bog, mountain, lake, and silver light. The ring of Kerry winds along a coastline so dramatic it barely seems real. And the wild Atlantic Way traces the entire western edge of the island, connecting fishing villages, ancient sites, and empty beaches in one extraordinary ribbon of road. There is a growing movement to protect what makes Ireland's natural environment extraordinary: rewilding projects, coastal conservation, efforts to restore the native woodlands that once covered the island. The Irish understand, perhaps better than most, how quickly something precious can be lost. Modern life. Modern Ireland moves quickly. Dublin's city centre hums with energy. International restaurants, independent bookshops, glass-fronted tech offices, and Georgian terraces standing side by side. The Dart hugs the coastline, connecting seaside suburbs to the city in minutes. New tram lines push further each year. Healthcare, broadband, and infrastructure have reached into corners of rural Ireland that once felt genuinely remote. The gap between city and countryside, while not gone, is narrower than it has ever been. The next generation. Ireland has one of the youngest populations in Europe, and it shows. University towns are full of ambition and noise. Young Irish people travel, study abroad, work in other countries, and then, more often than a generation ago, come back. Young entrepreneurs are opening businesses in towns that had been slowly emptying. Young farmers are experimenting with sustainable practices on the same land their grandparents worked. Young musicians are recording traditional tunes and placing them in contexts the founders of those tunes could never have imagined. Ireland's future is being written by people who love where they're from enough to stay and build something. Day turns into night. As the Atlantic sun drops low and turns everything golden, Ireland shifts gear. The working day ends, but the social day begins. Pub evenings here are not about excess. They are about conversation. Long, unhurried, moving from local news to philosophy to football to something that happened 40 years ago that still makes someone laugh. The turf fire burns low. The music starts without announcement. The night stretches. At home, family dinners linger. Children do homework at the kitchen table while adults talk. Dogs settle near the heat. There is a slowness to Irish evenings that feels deliberate, a collective decision that after the work is done, the rest of the time belongs to people, not to productivity. A place that continues to evolve. Ireland is changing, and it is doing so thoughtfully. Wind energy from the Atlantic coast now powers a significant share of the national grid. Rewilding projects are restoring habitats that disappeared generations ago. Towns that lost population are finding new reasons for people to stay and return. The Ireland being built today is one that takes its past seriously without being imprisoned by it, protecting what is irreplaceable, making room for what is new, understanding that heritage and innovation are not opposites. They are, in Ireland's case, the same story told in different chapters. Why people love calling Ireland home. People stay because the mornings are quiet and the evenings are full. Because the landscape does something to you that's hard to name and impossible to forget. Because community here isn't something you have to search for. It simply surrounds you. Ireland isn't simply famous for its scenery. It is a country where history, community, and everyday life continue to create something truly timeless. Where the ancient and the modern share the same green hills, and where belonging, above all else, remains the point. If you enjoyed discovering the Ireland beyond the guidebooks, subscribe and join us as we continue exploring how people really live around the world, one remarkable place at a time.